Welcome back to Hannity. Hillary Clinton's newly released emails appear to prove that the Clinton Foundation influenced her decision-making while she was serving as Secretary of State. And late last week, we learned that Bill Clinton sought State Department approval but was denied to give speeches tied to North Korea, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and two countries that have atrocious human rights records. Here with reaction, the man who first exposed all these shady money practices at the Clinton Foundation, the author of the New York Times bestseller, Clinton Cash, the president of the Government Accountability Institute, Breitbart senior editor-at-large, Peter Schweizer, is with us. All right, let's go through this. So we have a Secretary of State, we have a Clinton Foundation, we have money flowing into the foundation while she's Secretary of State, and also arms given, arms embargoes lifted off of pretty bad countries. Is there a connection?
I think there is, Sean. I mean, the oldest adage in Washington, D.C. is follow the money. And Hillary Clinton, as Secretary of State, as the emails are now confirming, had intertwining relationships between the Clinton Foundation and her official duties as Secretary of State. And why is that important? It's important because foreign entities are sending the Clintons money either to the Clinton Foundation or directly to the Clintons' pocket in the form of these speaking fees, and she has the power as our chief diplomat, the Secretary of State, to make vastly important decisions that affect those very people sending the money. And the emails show that it's all intertwined. She's talking Clinton Foundation activity. Clinton aides are talking about steering money to the Clinton Global Initiative from foreign governments. It's all what I call the Clinton blur.
And on top of that, then we go back to the original argument that I kept pointing out when your book first hit, and that is that you have Saudi Arabia and Kuwait and the UAE and Oman and all these other countries with atrocious human rights records, especially for women. She never publicly criticizes these countries, and they're giving millions and millions of dollars to the foundation. Did they buy her silence?
Well, I think they did. Look, as Secretary of State, you can do things for the benefit of somebody, or you can not do things for the benefit of someone. And for somebody like Hillary Clinton, who's been outspoken on women's issues since she was First Lady in the 1990s, to be silent on these issues as Secretary of State is very interesting and puzzling. And look, here's the thing we all have to recognize. In these foreign cultures, for example, in the Middle East, in Latin America, and in Asia, you're talking about, in some instances, countries that have political cultures that are all about bribery. They're all about getting favors from government officials. And these are the very places that are sending large sums of money to the Clintons. And all you need to do is look at the inconsistencies in her posture as Secretary of State, and you have to believe that these two instances or these two events are connected.
But all of this is happening at the same time she's Secretary of State. In other words, there's still fundraising for the foundation from countries that she may have to deal with as Secretary of State, or her husband is seeking to make speeches at while she's Secretary of State. Now, presidents usually put their finances in a blind trust. In other words, they want to avoid any appearance of impropriety. So they're supposedly they don't know what's going on with their money. What about ethical conflict of interest laws? Do you see any that might be violated?
Yeah, there's a real clear possibility. I mean, look, the federal laws are very clear for federal government employees, and that includes Hillary Clinton. I mean, she's Secretary of State. She's appointed by the president and confirmed by the Senate, but she still has to abide by the ethical rules that all employees do. And it's very clear you cannot use State Department resources or federal government resources for the benefit of a private business that you run or your spouse or family member runs, or for the benefit of a private charity.
Well,
whether it's Bill's speaking fees or the foundation, she can't be doing that.
Why would Bill Clinton want to be giving a speech in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, an enemy of ours, a sworn enemy, North Korea, and even he had ties with this guy from Iran during the time of an arms embargo? I'm trying to understand, was it just solely a financial motivation here?
I think it's financial, but I think it's also, psychological. He wants to do what he wants to do. I mean, look, if you look at the email traffic, North Korea, Democratic Republic of Congo, both come with these ideas of him coming to speak in those countries. And Bill Clinton doesn't dismiss them out of hand. What he basically does is go to the State Department and say, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. What do you guys think? It's only because the State Department says this is not a good idea that he decides not to do it. I mean, to me, that's really amazing. amazing, with all the sensitive issues going on with both of these countries, that he would even entertain the idea of taking this money.
All right.
To me, just shows what they're willing to do for money.
Well, and that and the silence on the women's rights abuse issues when taking money from countries like Saudi Arabia. My last question is, the Clintons are known to skate. If you would have asked me prior to 1998 if a president has sex with an intern in the Oval Office, lies to the American public about it, is impeached, and would survive, I would have said no way. Whitewater, Travelgate, cattle futures, all of these issues. The Clintons seem to survive. Does she survive this?
I think it's going to be hard, and I think it's going to be hard because you have a couple of important dynamics. Number one, you have people that have raised this issue at the Department of Justice. They didn't dismiss it out of hand, so now they're on the record of saying there is potentially a problem here. The second thing you have to keep in mind is relationships between President Obama and the Clintons is not great. Just go back to some of the statements that Bill Clinton made about Barack Obama in 2008.
They played the race card against me. Yeah?
Exactly. And the way that they lied about they were going to disclose all the donations to the Clinton Foundation, they signed a written agreement with Barack Obama. They basically ignored that. So if the president is so motivated, I would not be surprised if there were criminal charges. We'll have to wait and see.
All right, Peter Schweizer, great work as always. Thank you for being back with us.
Thank you.
And coming up next.